Hey, it's Dr. Matt Serrick here from Back and Balance Clinic, and today we're going to talk about some common patterns of low back pain, how to recognize them, and how that might guide your treatment. Low back pain is extremely common, and up to 80% of people will experience back pain at some point in their life. The prevalence of low back pain in the adult population is about 30%. And the most common form of low back pain is designated nonspecific or mechanical because it lacks specific tissue damage. Most nonspecific back pain cases are self-limiting and usually resolve in 4 to 6 weeks. So let's talk about some of the good news regarding low back pain. The majority of back pain really does improve quite rapidly, and most of the causes of low back pain are not serious or life-threatening. Chronic, unremitting low back pain affects only a minority of patients, and disability persists in a relatively small percentage of individuals, even those with chronic low back pain. Most individuals don't seek care, and when they do, it usually doesn't last long, and satisfaction with chiropractic care in this regard is actually very good. So let's talk about the not so good news when it comes to low back pain. Complete resolution of symptoms and activity tolerance often does not occur rapidly. The recurrence rate for low back pain is actually quite high, and satisfaction with medical care is not very good. Furthermore, the economic costs related to a small minority of individuals with persistent, disabling, occupational low back pain is an enormous problem for society. In order to understand the major patterns of back pain, it helps for us to understand the relevant structures of the low back. So let's have a brief talk about the anatomy of the low back. There are 4 major structures that make up the majority of the pain generators of the low back. There are other causes, but the 4 structures that by far make up the vast majority of the causes of low back pain include the facet joint, the intervertebral disc, the nerve root, and the musculature. Now we know some of the relevant anatomy, let's get into the patterns of back pain. The first pattern of back pain is known as Flexion intolerant low back pain. This pattern often involves the intervertebral disc and is the most common source of low back pain, as most people spend time sitting and in flexion type positions as opposed to other positions. It involves small tears in the disc that occur over a period of time. The pain is often intermittent and can worsen with flexion activities like bending, lifting, and sitting. You may experience increased pain with coughing, sneezing, and straining. The second pattern of back pain is known as extension intolerant low back pain. This pain typically develops when stress is put on the posterior or rear elements of the spine, like the joints. The pain is often intermittent, feels sharp or stabbing, and is localized to the low back. Symptoms often worsen with extension type activities such as bending backwards, walking, and standing. The third and fourth patterns have a common theme. They both involve nerve root irritation, and while both are similar in terms of their pain generator, they actually present very differently. Pattern 3, nerve root irritation, is what we call a radiculopathy and involves irritation and inflammation of an actual spinal nerve root. This pain arises from the disc and exhibits disc-type patterns, which we discussed earlier. This is your sciatica type of back pain and happens more so in younger individuals less than 50 years old. The pain is usually constant and can be shooting, burning, or electrical. A defining feature of this type of pain is that you experience numbness and tingling down the back of one of your legs, and you may also experience weakness. Pattern 4 of low back pain is what we call spinal stenosis. This occurs more commonly in older individuals and is a progressive degenerative condition. This pain is usually intermittent and aggravated by extension type exercises like standing and walking. You can experience numbness, tingling, or glute pain in both legs. This pain is often relieved by sitting or other flexion type exercises or movements and positions. All of these causes of back pain have something in general in common: a directional preference. This means that your spine doesn't like moving in certain directions as it typically aggravates symptoms, and the back then prefers to move in other directions, which are typically symptom relieving. This is extremely important in your recovery as movement will help your back to heal as fast as possible. What we need to do is find the best direction for you to do it in. Prolonged rest can actually delay your recovery. Sometimes rest is necessary, but it is important to remember resting is because of your pain and not for your pain. Get up and move as soon as you can. As you may have noticed, we haven't touched on the myofascial causes of low back pain, and this is due to the fact that the muscles, on their own, rarely are a primary source of pain. Myofascial pain typically occurs with any of the above patterns of low back pain due to guarding, spasm, or irritation. Also keep in mind that some of these conditions can occur together, which is why it is important to see someone who is familiar with differentiating these types of pains. Check out this table for a summary of these low back pain conditions, and check out our other low back pain video in which we will talk about other common treatments for the different patterns of low back pain. And don't forget to like our page and subscribe and drop a line in the comments below.